Hello, hello, and welcome back. We are in day 8 out of 20 of Cook for Victory here. My name is Maddie.
And my name is Millie, and tonight we are cooking once again at Cookery School at Little Portland Street.
Another round of introductions. If you don't know me, I've been a pastry chef for over 10 years in Australia, and I've spent my last 3 here teaching at Cookery School.
I'm from London. I trained here at Cookery School, and before that I was a private chef in Tuscany.
So our job over these kind of 20 nights is to get you guys cooking delicious meals with simple foods, and hopefully making it easier for you to be able to put a really good meal together in. We show you it's done in an hour. You can take a little bit longer, but just that it's easy to put together something really, really delicious and tasty.
Yeah, tonight we're doing a wonderful weeknight classic. We're doing spaghetti bolognese. So we're going to start with our bolognese sauce. So a really nice way of learning how to do a very simple stew, but also a delicious pasta sauce. Once again, recapping boiling pasta. And then Maddie's also going to show you a lovely vegetarian version. And of course, rounding up with a nice fresh green salad and a lovely dressing. A
perfect balanced meal. If you are doing the vegetarian version, you and I have a lot of chopping ahead of us. We might have to invite a friend.
Or pause the show whenever you need to, just to make sure you're keeping up at the right moments.
Yes. And you're lucky we do have a special guest for you, who we'll bring up later. We've got Ramona from her hummus. You might know her or have seen it about. We're going to bring her up later. We're going to taste her hummus, and she's hopefully going to help us cut up our salad and stuff. But we have a lot of chopping to do, like I said. So I'm doing the vegetable bolognese. Millie's doing the meat version. If you're doing the meat version, you can get your beef mince going. If you're doing the veggie version, we're going to start with our onions, as we always do. Really, really super caramelized, nice and dark. Oh, thank you, Millie. Very kind. What a lady.
Ooh. Right, so just to get ourselves started with the meat, I have got 500 grams, 450 grams of minced beef. Ooh. And I've got a really nice wide saute pan, or just anything with a slight lip that's got big surface area, because I want to get all of this really, really well browned. So I'm going to turn this on, grab my olive oil and a pinch of salt, and we're going to start frying this on quite high heat. We want to drive off all the water so it gets lovely and crispy and brown. And
you guys should be really used to chopping onions by now. Everything in terms of, particularly for the vegetable, but for both the meat and the veggie, everything is going to be kind of as small as you can chop, because we're trying to emulate minced meat. So the smaller the better. One, it will cook quicker, but we're trying to make it look like minced meat as well. So this is a time to practice your knife skills as per usual. Cut through the top, peel off the outside, and we're going for really, really fine dice on both our onions. So if you're doing the meat version, the same, it will be the exact same. But the veggie, everything is going to be the exact same size, very, very small.
So I have just started by breaking up my meat. So again, I've got my favorite flat spatula, just so I can get it into slightly smaller pieces. So it's going to fry a little bit quicker and a bit more evenly. And partly why we want everything to be so fine is it has to match kind of the size of the mince. So it's beginning to fry a little bit, but it's going to release a lot of water, and then it's going to evaporate, and then it will begin to brown. So I'm going to just spread it out into one even layer and try not to touch it too much.
And I'm just doing what we've done probably quite a few times now. I'm going to go for the smallest possible dice for my onions. Again, we're wanting this to look like mince when it's done, and also cook at a decent rate as well. So everything should be roughly the same size, and we're aiming for, I'm talking like 1/2 centimeter if you can get it there.
As small as you can. You can't really go too tiny in this situation.
No, the smaller the better, and the smaller the easier for everyone when we're cooking as well. But you should all be professional onion cutters and professional onion cookers, down to that nice caramelized onion as well.
Another thing is the beef mince we're using is on the fatty side. It's really going to help with the flavour and keep it like a nice juicy sauce. So don't go buying like the 5% lean ground beef. It just doesn't ever taste quite as good. So yeah, we're just going to be chopping away. With my recipe, with the beef version, once this has got a little bit of colour and it's released all the water, I'm going to put my onions in with it. So I've actually kept back half the oil, and we'll add the rest when we're frying our onions.
And I've got probably the world's biggest onion.
Sorry, if I just pause you for a sec. I can hear this like very, very vigorous, fast frying noise. It might spit a little bit, so just step back. Again, I'm just breaking it up, scraping the bottom of the pot, and if you can hear it frying really hard and fast like this, keep an eye on it. You don't let it run away from you and start burning. So while it looks really raw at this point, it will continue to cook and will start to brown fairly soon, especially on this really, really high heat. So I'm just going to keep breaking it up, scraping the bottom as I go.
Shocker for this one. Cold oil, cold pan, and of course cold onions. I don't think there will be a night where we don't do this. There might be one, but for the most part it's always going to be the same. We're going to take the nice dark caramel colour, start it on high with a pinch of salt to draw out the moisture.
See my friends.
Lovely. And everything that we add from now, we want to be taking to that nice dark colour. So our aubergine the same, the mushrooms the same. I'm going to put this on a nice high heat and get cooking.
So I might just move mine out of the way quickly so you can just see the start of Maddie's browning.
Ooh. I've got that pinch of salt. I'm just giving it a toss around. And as always, if you've got water close by as well, just to kind of help that caramel flavour come in, patience, 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 patience.
So coming towards the end of my first onion, then we're going to move on to our second one. As soon as my meat is looking a little bit brown, then I'm going to pop my onions in along with that and they can all brown all together.
Guys, on veggies, we're going for vegetable number 1 out of many. The first one to go in is the aubergine, just because it takes quite a long time to cook, and also there's just a lot of it. Again, we're aiming for super, super small. I'm going to just top and tail mine. I'm also going to make it easier for myself in a little bit, cut it down the middle, because I'm going to aim for like quite thin slices. Something, if you get, like I said, if you can get a ½ centimetre, that's great. I've got my nice flat surface, and now I've got 2 things that I can cut battens from and get dices from there. And same for my larger piece. Just helping myself out by creating kind of 2 easy flat surfaces.
So if you've been doing the Cook for Victory for a couple of days, we'd love to hear how you've been getting on at home, what your favourite recipes have been, any tips and tricks you picked up from us over the last 8 days of cooking. Trying to see, we've been really enjoying all of your pictures that you've been sending in. Some pretty spectacular plates of pasta. We keep bringing it up, but they were so beautiful looking.
I'm already crying. I'm just going to give my onions a toss, and you can all relish in watching me cry. This is probably going to continue for the whole night, so but again, patience for your caramelized onions.
I'm just going to put my onions in a bowl just so I can carry on with the rest of my prep. But if we swap back, this is starting to brown really nicely. They're starting to break into quite small bits as well. So if I scrape and flip them over, I'm beginning to see that lovely, like, it smells really good in here, to be honest.
It does smell really good.
Browning meat is one of the best smells in the kitchen out there. So I'm starting to get some good colour, but we're not nearly there yet. One thing you can do
is,
in suspense, you can use a potato masher just to break it into like little small crumbles, and that will help a little bit with the texture as well. So I like to alternate between my big one to start and then my masher as well. It also helps flatten it into one fine layer, so it'll brown really, really nicely. So another use for your potato masher. I don't like one-use tools most of the time, so you've got to find another job for it.
Okay, I'm very close to the end of my first vegetable. We are going to pop the garlic in with our onions at the end. So again, you can choose, if you're chopping, you can chop up your garlic. It doesn't need to be super small either. We can chop, or I'm going to use a potato mincer. Potato mincer? I'm going to use a garlic mincer for my garlic, just because I know I'm already chopping so many vegetables to pop into this. And this is kind of a, you can use plenty of vegetables. I'm just doing similar to Millie, carrots, celery, mushrooms. I've got a courgette and the aubergine. You can pop some other veggies in too, unless you are sick of chopping, like I think everyone who's doing the vegetable version will be tonight.
So Maddie's version, where she's frying her onions, is already starting to brown. I'll add a splash of water to help to just lift off all that caramelization on the bottom.
But that is something you should be very well versed in by now, is taking all that caramelization off the bottom of the bowl.
So I'm dissolving off all of that caramelization, and that's just going to evaporate into the air and boil back onto my onions, making them nice and brown very, very fast. And my meat is looking pretty good. I think we're ready for our onions actually. It might go maybe a minute longer, but the center of the pan is looking really, really dark golden brown. So again, just like with our onions, the sugars in the protein of the meat are beginning to caramelize. So getting this lovely browning. You don't want to take this out and clean your pot. This is where all the flavor is. So let me give it another shake, another good scrape. Break everything up into tiny, tiny little crumbles. I'm going to crush my garlic, and then we'll be ready to go in with our onions, I think, by that point. So chopping off the roots.
A race to the garlic crusher, which I think I'm going to win.
Oh. All right.
I won this round.
I can wait.
I'm just going to keep it on the side just until my onions are ready. Once they've got that nice kind of dark caramel color, I'm going to do the old 1-2 caramel for just a few seconds till it's fragrant. Garlic just a few seconds till it's fragrant, and then straight in with the aubergines afterwards to stop it from burning. So mine's just on the edge of my board in preparation for that moment when my onions are finally ready.
Ooh, a little bit spicy. So I'm now really happy with the color of my meat. I've got lots of brown crumbles. Everything is looking pretty much cooked. There is no more water left, and it's smelling really good. So, thank you, Manon. I'm going to go in with my finely diced onions, so just like Maddie. Get those in. I might add a little splash of water just to get rid of all this browning on the bottom, so I can go on my onions, help them cook a little bit quicker. But otherwise, we're looking pretty good for this stage. So when I say a splash of water, anything from a couple of tablespoons on a gas stove to maybe a half cup on induction. So the bottom of my pot, once all the steam clears off, is looking very, very clean. So all of that browning has got transferred back onto my onions. Ooh, sorry,
and
madam.
We're going to do the exact same for my onions. Again, I would say this is one of those times where you say, maybe it is. Oh, Maddie, you've let it burn a little bit. But just that dash of water
Brings it right back.
and that nice sound. And the steam finally goes away. And that kind of black has now just become a mellow, or a more mellow brown caramel color. And that's your extra flavor there. Same with your meat. The meat is the exact same.
Oh, that's looking so good.
That looks amazing. It's actually not too far. I'm going to give
very,
it
very quick, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we did some good chopping, to
The
be honest.
secret is sort of forgetting about it for a little while and coming back when you can smell it starting to get lovely and brown and caramelized.
The best.
And then a big splash of water, and then you're halfway there.
The best onions are those left
And you can
forgotten.
stir mine, please, madam.
But that looks pretty good. Mine, in terms of timing wise, 2 minutes until your aubergine's in, so I'm hoping your chops are all ready to go. Yes, I will give yours a stir.
So with my celery, I started with quite a long piece with a fairly short knife because this is what's comfortable for me. So I broke it into 3 pieces, which is much more manageable. And then I'll line up my little sticks of celery. You can go into, it depends how thick they are, to be honest, but again, centimetre-ish little matchsticks, line them up, and then you should be able to get nice small chunks. The smaller you go on this, the quicker it's going to cook overall, because weirdly, the thing that takes the longest to cook is always the carrots and celery.
And I have, in terms of order, I've got my garlic, which will be set, I said I'll need very, very soon, and then my aubergine straight after. And then the next one after the aubergine is ready is the mushroom, so that's going to be the thing that I cut next. Again, we're aiming for very, very small pieces. The mushroom's going to release a lot of water, so try and get them as small as you possibly can, just to speed up that process.
I've just remembered, if you're doing the meat one, it says to add in half your oil at the start and then the other half your oil when you're doing your onions. So I've just added in the rest of my olive oil. Also helps with it frying nice and fast. I think your onions are looking pretty good.
You judge them to be ready?
I judge them to be ready. They look beautiful mahogany colour. Again on my onion-ometer.
Onion-ometer.
Looking good.
All right, that means I'm coming with my 2 ingredients that need to go kind of back to back. So again, your garlic, right, 2 seconds until it's fragrant, until you can smell it, which for me is right now. So it's on quite a high heat, so that means your aubergine go straight in. Potentially at this point, I've got a little bit of oil in my pan, but aubergine can soak up like quite a lot. So if it starts to get that kind of dry sound like our mushrooms did the other night for the ragu, just give it a dash of oil just to soak it up. I've kept half back similar to Millie, but it might need a little bit more, and depending on the amount of vegetables that you're chopping and cutting and everything like that, it could take a little bit more oil than what the recipe says. So we're going to see, we're going to listen. If it starts to get a bit dry, I might put a bit more oil in.
And also you've got to use your nose, your hearing, all your senses when you cook. So if you can hear it sounding like a little squeaky or dry, you've got to get a little more oil in or maybe a little water, see how you're going. So, smelling good. Once my onions got a bit of colour, then I'm going to go in with my finely chopped carrots and celery and my garlic, my tomato puree. I've also got a tin of tomatoes and parsley, but we're just slowly building up these layers of flavour. Add a little more water just to stop it from burning on the bottom.
Oh, I'm just going to be crying all night. My eyes have gone.
And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. We will listen to them and hopefully be able to answer them in the session now. It's the benefit of doing it live, is we get to hear all of your questions right here right now.
Particularly, let us know how you're tracking for time. Are you managing to cook at the same rate? That would be pretty cool. And if not, if you think it's impossible, you can always take your time. We're just showing you that it can be done in an hour. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you have to do.
And the nice thing about this recipe in particular is it freezes extremely well. It actually gets better with time. So if you let it sit in your fridge for at least a day, it tastes even better the next time. And it freezes so well so you can make a double, even triple batch. Mincemeat is one of the cheaper proteins out there, so it's like a nice budget-friendly weeknight thing to do with your family.
Good way to sneak in some veggies
Some
too.
extra veg, yeah.
Yeah.
So using my very sharp hearing, hear a lot of
sharp
sizzling
hearing.
going on.
I would
So-
guess that sounds
Getting
like
a good
it's
bit
my
of colour.
aubergine.
It's also starting to go from this kind of pale, spongy look to a little more golden brown on the edges, which is a good sign they're soaking up the oil and they're actually cooking. Because raw aubergine is pretty horrible. Add a little bit of water to stop these from, again, burning on the bottom. And to help them steam a little bit, they'll cook much, much faster. And over on my meat, again, beautiful golden brown colour on the bottom. But that brown stuff is getting a little bit dark. So we're going to add a touch of water. Water really is your best friend when you're frying. It's just like the emergency stop before things go a little too far and burn.
Particularly if you're doing a few other things, which I think when you're cooking dinner you manage to start about 6 jobs. So always having that pot of water is just going to save you from a bit of a nightmare with your meat. I'm really going for like tiny, tiny bits with my mushroom. I gave them a rough chop to start and I'm just going over just to get all these bigger bits in. I'm trying to get them small, like I said. The aubergine look really neat because they're quite easy to chop. If you've got mushrooms that are really different sizes, just do that pizza cut that I love doing.
You do love pizza cut.
I do love the pizza cut.
So I've just cut in as small as I can, these very, very thin planks. I'm going to line them on top of each other, keeping my fingers right the way back so they're never in the way of my knife, or between my fingers so I have really good control and grip. And then I line up my little matchsticks and give them a nice fine chop. The smaller my carrots are, the better, because it's a very, very finely textured sauce. So if you can, work on your fine dicing, your knife skills tonight. Good opportunity to do so. And that's about as tiny as we want them, sort of ½ centimetre pieces. Is that what you said earlier?
½ centimetre, yeah.
Maybe
That's
a
what I'm
little
aiming for at least. In terms of your colour for your aubergine,
Oh, it's looking good.
this is getting close. If you did join us for the ragu, kind of want a bit more like of a crispy golden edge if we can catch it. So we're going to go for just a little bit more before you go in with our mushrooms. And then they're kind of the bigger like waterful vegetables, and then we can go in with our celery and our carrots, and as well with our courgette right at the end. But we're looking for a little bit crispier.
Again, a little bit like your minestrone, you kind of roughly go in order of density, just so you can make sure everything cooks at the right time at the same rate. How's mine going? Do you mind giving mine a stir?
Yours is... Oh, yeah.
Sounds crispy.
Crispy.
Very, very crispy.
I'm going to go a little dash of water for you as well.
I think we're looking almost at the brown stage.
Yeah, I think you're very close.
So once it's starting to get nice and golden brown, we're going to go in with our garlic, whatever celery and carrots I've done at this point, and also my tomato puree. It's nice to give this a little fry if you can. Helps to infuse all the flavour into the oil.
Are we going in?
We're going in. I've got a couple of bits and pieces chopped here. So I'll give my tomato puree and my garlic a really quick fry. Can you smell it?
I can smell
You
it.
can smell it? All right, we're ready to go. So
My
and then I'll
eyes can
finish
also smell it.
finish chopping the rest of my veg. So in goes my finely chopped carrots and celery, and we'll give those another quick fry along with our meat and our onions. Give it a quick mix in. Let it sit, just while I'm doing my thing. Maddie's onions and aubergine looking very, very nice. Very soft actually. You'll go for your mushrooms now.
Lovely. So in terms of what you're frying, never be too shy with your splash of water. It's also going to give you just a couple more seconds. It's going to lift, I don't know if you can see the very bottom of that pan with all that steam. See all that brown there? If you put a good splash of water in and give it a bit of a scrape, it will lift in and create caramel flavour in your dish. So I'm going to add that splash of water now. I'm going to scrape a little bit, get that caramel off, and then I'm going to go in with my mushrooms because my aubergine is really nice and dark and caramel now. And all that flavour is now inside. And also, it kind of cleans your pot too, so definitely worth it.
All right, I'm nearly there with my chopping.
I don't know if you can see that now, but it is cleaner. Did half the job. And so I'm going with my mushrooms now because they'll also take about as long as the aubergine, realistically.
Excuse me. Ooh, that's nearly a spatula donated to the floor. Ooh!
I'm behind you. I'm going in with
Doing good, doing good. Right, you can stir mine, I'll stir yours.
I need to get away from the onions.
So mushrooms are full of water. Do you want to add a little pinch of salt just to help draw out some of that water? Doesn't need to be a lot again, it's not for seasoning, it's just for that chemical property of drawing out water. So it's like 1/8 of a teaspoon or something, very, very small amount. Stir it in, and if you need to, remember you are welcome to add a little bit more oil at this stage because you're making a veggie bolognese. Most of the flavour will come from all of the lovely flavours going into the oil.
I think
and there's no meat, so there's no fat in all your veggies.
Yeah, and there's also can be different amounts. Like if you're doing lots of vegetables, you've chosen to put all the added extras in, you're going to need a little bit more oil. Don't be shy with it. If you need it, just use it. It's all good for you anyway. It's all delicious stuff. I'm going in with kind of the last addition. So these last few things are kind of the courgette don't take too long. These are a bit heartier, but it's kind of all in at this stage. So they're the last addition we'll go in with our tomato paste, we'll go in with that little bit of stock and tomato and everything in, and then we just let it sit and stew for a very long time until it's all flavours and soaked up all that goodness, and just that last little bit of parsley as well.
So mine is smelling pretty amazing at this point. Added a big splash of water to lift up all that browning. I'm going to chop my parsley as quick as I can, but in the meantime I'm going to go in with a tin of chopped tomatoes. You can use fresh tomatoes in its place, you could use passata, whatever's floating your boat that day. In with my tin of tomatoes, and like every single time we use tomatoes, we're going to add another tin of water, and this means I can leave my stew at a nice high bubble
You can
and it won't burn.
to forget about it.
Exactly. The next thing I'm going to add is a little bit of stock powder, which is your nice veg stock powder, to add a little bit of salt, but also just some nice seasoning. But of course, if you have veg stock or chicken stock on hand, you can use that as well. And give Maddie's a stir. Not burning, but just smelling like lovely and caramelized. Doesn't need a splash of water just yet. I'm going to stir all of mine to dissolve all that rest of the stuff on the bottom. And then I'm going to finish off my parsley, and then I think I can basically put mine to the back and we'll forget about it for now. If you have a very, very slow moving kettle or hob, it's a good time to put your pan of water on to boil. Get yourself a nice big pot, almost the biggest you can, because pasta likes lots and lots of space so it doesn't stick to each other. As for chopping my herbs, I'm going to scrunch them into a very tight bundle, the tightest I can. And I'm going to finely chop the stalks. Stalks have really good flavour, so I'm going to use them, but as long as they're finely chopped, I don't mind. Creeping my fingers back in their little claw. Nice and fine.
I'm just going to be here chopping vegetables
My
forever.
friend, you need a little water. Again, got another jug of water. Just to stop that from getting too dark. So the benefit of using induction is it's very, very efficient at getting rid of, at creating heat.
Creating heat, but also I think
At boiling off water, it's very efficient at transferring heat. That's where I was going for.
and it usually doesn't, I think a lot of people put their flame on high because they want something to cook really quickly, and you kind of end up burning the edges of your pan. So
I do that all the time,
yeah,
actually.
I do that at home a lot actually. But it's just the induction, the heat's just coming from the bottom. So if there's only ever heat coming from the bottom, there's nothing drying out on the sides.
And I'm trying not to wipe my fingers with my knife. Even for me, it's quite a hard habit to crack, but using Jeffrey, our friend, just means your fingers aren't getting involved with the knife nearly as much, which is just a very good safety tip to have. I'm doing my pizza chop, hands on top of the knife, just like Maddie was doing, just to make sure everything's a little bit finer, especially those bits of stalk. But what I was saying earlier with adding all that water, if you do have induction, you can add a little bit more than you think because it will boil off very quickly. If you're using gas, maybe use a tiny bit less because it is a little bit less efficient in terms of boiling off water. Right, nearly there. And I say that because both Maddie and I have gas at home, so we know the
Yes.
struggle.
We know the struggles of gas. This is looking pretty good. I think it could dry out a little bit more just to get a bit more like brown from the mushrooms. I can see there's just still a tiny bit pale. So I'm going to let all this water evaporate, dry it out kind of completely before I put my last few veggies in. And then we'll go in with that tomato and all out, basically everything until the end.
And if you are following along with me, we are basically done. All I'm going to do is add in my chopped parsley, give it a stir, and then I'm going to send mine to the back where it can just have a nice cozy nap over a fairly high heat. If it starts to get a little dry and you can hear any sort of dry hissing noises, you need to add a little more water, especially if your veggies aren't cooked, just so it can keep on simmering away and not burn. So I'm going to send
it to rest, and we'll listen out for a dry hiss when it calls us later.
In the meantime, I will keep an eye on Maddie's and help her with her chopping.
I'm very
I help
close.
you?
Maybe you can chop my parsley.
Sure.
If you don't have a second person helping you out, firstly, go and get your kids if they're being lazy. They can always help out. It doesn't matter their age.
Got to sing for yourself.
Yeah, they can peel the parsley, they can peel the carrots. But if not, don't worry, take your time. This is something that can take as long or as little as you like.
This could be a really relaxing activity if you're not trying to do it exactly in an hour. Food on table. If you want to do really, really beautiful chopping, take your time. You know, you don't
Any
need to
other
do
night,
this.
I would find this chopping this many veggies very cathartic and very relaxing. But for today, we're going to go speed chop. We're getting 2 people chopping all these vegetables.
Ooh, nearly there. Just trying to keep things as close to themselves as I can. Oh, this is looking nice and brown.
Lovely.
So this aubergine mushroom onion base is basically mimicking my meat. So it adds a lot of, it makes it really substantial, meaty without being meaty, and really, really savoury, especially with those mushrooms.
And then we still have that same base. So the parsley, the carrots, the
Chopped
celery.
tomatoes, sun-dried tomato paste, garlic.
Just to
many,
get that
many
added
different
richness.
ingredients. Yeah. What's your next thing?
Carrots.
I might pop what you have there in just to get them going. Pass me your bowl.
We're almost at the everything in stage. The last thing.
The
So
last
if
minute.
you have your tomato ready, your tomato paste, I've even got some sun-dried tomato paste to add a little bit, make it a little bit richer tonight. This is your everything in stage. If your mushrooms are ready, your aubergines ready, your onions are done, it's all in now. And then we're going to do the exact same thing as the meat. We're going to let it stew, reduce down that tomato, get super rich, super flavoursome. Peeling carrots. I've got a super helpful Millie.
So I've just added in the celery and the courgette. Just to give them a little kickstart. Ideally, you can just add them all at the same time, but it's fine to do them in batches if that's what you have ready at that point. I've got my tin of tomatoes ready,
And
my
some water
sun-dried
to
tomato
rinse out.
paste, some water, my parsley, a little stock powder. Or if you don't have it, you can just add a little bit of salt. It just helps a little bit, especially with the vegetarian one, for boosting the flavour.
That kind of, yeah, that nice umami flavour, as they say.
Nearly there. Right. So, how are you doing, Maddie?
I'm now just watching from afar, so I don't have to cry anymore.
And I'm just making sure every single
You're doing
time.
a very good job, Millie.
To scrape off all of that stuff on the bottom. So, I might add in the tomatoes, the parsley, sun-dried tomato paste at this point. You can add in your carrots as soon as you're done.
Thanks.
But ideally, you're all in at the same time. If you don't have sun-dried tomato paste, you can just double up a little bit on the tomato puree. Just adds a little bit of extra richness.
All right, I'm ready.
We're ready, okay.
I have everything. All right.
So tomato paste is just, basically starts with this tin. They'll sieve it and they will evaporate it on, well, traditionally it would be done on big wooden planks in the sun, and they would just let it evaporate over days and days and days. So you get like a lovely concentrated tomato flavor. So carrots go in, got my chopped tomatoes, my tin of water.
Yep.
Thank you. The parsley, and lastly the little bit of stock powder, and that's just going to dissolve straight into my sauce. No need to dissolve it in some water. We're going to have a little clean up.
We are. So everything in for your veg bolognese now, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to send it to sleep on the back bench. Listen out for that drying out.
You can actually hear it with our beef one in the back is making these sort of saucy sounds. I might just give it a quick stir to make sure it's not sticky on the bottom, but otherwise it's definitely fine to keep on simmering away. And since we've done most of our frying, looking at this now, it looks like it's going to need such a big pan, so I'm just going to tip it in so our cameraman can see a little bit better what we're doing.
And now all that's going to happen is we're going to evaporate off all that water, make it a bit more of a drier kind of, less stewy, more dry. So it goes beautifully on top of our pasta.
So last ingredient over here is a little bit of stock powder. And then I'm going to send it to the back to go have a little sleep. This one's actually a little bit thicker than your one, so I might add a touch more water.
And you can see just in that small amount of time, we've been kind of putting it on a really high heat to the back cooker. That's the meat version. It's evaporated a little bit, but it also started to become that nice, like, dark, cooked
rich
kind of,
cooked
it's left
tomato.
bright red, it's getting a bit more brown. But again, this is one of those things that you can cook for quite a while. It's only going to get more flavoursome. If you have a bit of time, you can just stick it on a medium heat as opposed to quite a high heat and just let it simmer. Add water as it needs. All it will do is just evaporate it off and just get more and more flavoursome, more rich and more tomatoey over time. So both of these are going to be sent to sleep on the back burner, and we are going to do a little bit of a light green salad to balance off this kind of rich dish.
So a good moment to just clear up your space, make sure you've not got everything everywhere all at once. Ooh, get rid of all these little bits of onion that have escaped my pot.
And now is a fantastic time
to bring on your guest.
to bring on
If
your
you've got
guest.
one.
If you have a famous guest that you can bring onto your cooking show at home, do so now. But if not, we're going to get Ramona to come on up.
Just flip these over.
Talking about her beautiful, her famous hummus, but also things that she loves to cook home. Welcome.
Thank you
So
for having
nice
me.
to
Very
have
nice
you.
to be here. Really good to be here.
So
Ramona's just been watching us sweat a little bit, and she's
Yes,
come up
I'm
for
enjoying the
nice
fact
and
that
thin.
I'm not cooking tonight. It is a very nice difference.
So what do you
It's
cook when you're at
amazing.
home?
I have to say I'm quite a protagonist of this cooking at home. I do all my cooking at home, and I love doing simple things like this, which you can freeze and use for a night where
Yes.
I'm a working mom of two. I know the story. Anything that you can keep and use over a few days or put on a few different bases, I'm all in.
And
for.
what about
So
the kids?
bolognese.
Was they a veggie bolognese or were they the meat one?
I think they're all, we are South African at heart, so we're a little bit carnivorous.
Meat it is then, meat it is.
Yeah, but not against it, but I think probably meat at home.
Yeah, with a hefty amount of pasta to go
Hefty
with.
amount
Or
of- exactly.
rice, it actually can go
On
in
a
quite
baked
few
potato,
things.
so
Baked
if you just-
potato, absolutely.
And I always find that after I do a big batch of bolognese, I just stick it in a Ziploc bag in the freezer, flat. It's fantastic. You pull it out when you haven't got
It's
the
like
time.
Pretty handy.
It's
a,
just
a home version of his one I prepared earlier.
Yeah,
Type
it's
thing.
exactly that.
So we are going to, or actually I might get you to, so we're going to just strip off all the leaves. We can chop off the stem. We're going to put this in a salad spinner. It's always a good idea to do that just in case it's any grits or any dirt in your salad. Also gives it a little perk up if it's looking a little bit sad. That's going to be your job. Okay. I'm going to split open this cucumber and I'll just scoop out the seeds so we've got a lovely dry base for our salad. And if you've got any bits of rubbish, you're welcome to pop it in here. Thank you. I'll leave this all the way on the side.
And I steal this knife for the tip.
Of course.
So I was going to say.
You. So just with my fingers either side, splitting it down the middle, I'm going to grab a little teaspoon and just scoop out the wet seeds.
And while we're putting you to work, what about your business? Tell us about your dips, your hummus, everything.
Oh, so I started the business 20 years ago. I was 10 years old, it goes without saying.
Me too.
That's not
Same.
true. Yeah, same. Weird. Yeah, I funny that. And so I predominantly manufacture hummuses and different flavors of dips. We love a chickpea in our factory, you can imagine. And
how many chickpeas do you get through a month?
Oh, what a good question.
Tens
Like-
and tens
like
of
tons?
tons. Oh,
Dried?
tons. Dried, yeah.
Nice,
yeah.
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
So we soak them from fresh, just like you guys are doing here. We're all about doing it the same way that my grandparents and parents did it. So
Love that.
it's soaking the chickpeas one day and then putting them in, boiling them the next day and making that delicious.
Making that
hummus.
nice and fresh.
Right.
And so what's the key to like the best hummus? Like what's your thing that makes it different, better than all the other hummuses?
It's the love that goes into it.
Ah.
And I swear to God, it's so cheesy, but I swear it's true. My father used to cook for us when I was growing up, and whenever we used to go, oh my God, what's the best ingredient? And he always used to say, oh, it's the love that I put in it. And
That's really cute.
I know it's cute, and it is so cheesy, and I think it was the butter, but
Oh, I see. Yeah.
having said that,
Maddie would like it.
That's the equivalent of
it's
love
the
here
it's
as
the French
well.
version,
Yeah.
And so I genuinely believe that if you love what you're cooking and you really put your heart into it, it can be tasted. And genuinely, that is why we always say on the front of the pot, it's made with chickpeas and love.
I love that.
We love that. We've been trying to get people to look at cooking as something that
bottles and-
it is a little bit of a chore. You do have to cook
It is.
most nights. Everyone has to eat, but why not enjoy it? You know, maybe just spend an extra 10 minutes
Totally.
slowing it down, putting on some good tunes. You
And,
know,
I mean, my household, there's always music playing, and I actually do get the kids involved. It's really important. They're going to go off to university one day, and you just don't want them to be sitting there going, I don't know how to cook a single thing. And my mother cooked everything. They need to get to know this
yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
And it's not that hard.
It's not too hard. I hope that you guys at home have picked up a few tips and tricks maybe, and picked up that maybe it's not too horrible cooking dinner every night and having a beautiful fresh meal and chucking some in your freezer for a later date. Why not?
Totally.
So with our salad, just giving it a good wash, like agitating it in some really, really cold water to help make it nice and crisp again. And then I'm going to take all of this off and give it a very good spin, and then we'll have lovely, crisp, dry salad, because otherwise your dressing won't stick to it, and that is a disaster. I'm going to get you to do that. Yeah, thank you so much.
Swapsies.
We've now got 3 people in this kitchen, and it is
Oh,
going
no, I was
well.
going to say,
yeah.
you know, thank God we've got so much space. I think that's what's most important.
Yes. Space, people,
Exactly.
and love. You can never
Can't
forget the
forget
love
the
when
love.
you're cooking, you know?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, feel free to use
Yeah,
Jeffrey
thank
if you like.
very much.
So we've
I
got...
learned a lot today, by the way.
Oh, good.
Like that, for example, I did learn that
The
trick.
shards are the knives are super sharp. For us, we just find it's a very good way, particularly if you're new to knives. Like if you guys are at home and you're new to knives and you're not that comfortable with them, Jeffrey's just a good way
put it in
to
there,
help you out. Yeah, you can use Monsieur Jeffrey.
I find it's quite a chore to cut, but I find it amazing that you've taken out the core.
Yeah, that's a little rosism.
Totally, I love it. I take it out, but I usually keep it whole and then eat it.
Yeah, we just like a nice dry salad, but to be honest, it's very, very much edible. And
And
I
if you're
make some
keeping it in the
cucumber
fridge,
water or
if there's
something.
any left over, then that
Yeah,
makes it
delicious.
last an extra day.
So we're just making a really simple green salad, a little bit of cucumber, some nice fresh lettuce, and a little bit of olives. But you can kind of mix and match what you want. Do different types of leaves.
And then
Whatever
I think we're going to
floats your
do
boat. Dressing.
dressing.
So I've got some nice dry leaves here. If you want, you can just tear them in half if they're a little bit long, just so they kind of all eat nicely and you're not eating a whole leaf. in one go, trying to shove it in your mouth like Maddie and I often do.
Now, I love a salad, and the reason I love a salad is because of salad dressing.
Oh yes.
The best part.
Absolutely.
The best part about salad. What I used to really dislike salad, and I think it's
Until you
because
met me.
until I met Millie. But I do think it's because I've never had a salad spinner in my life, and I will say you don't have to have a salad spinner, but you should dry your lettuce. I think it's something to be.
That's the thing.
You shouldn't
And
pass
soggy
it by.
lettuce is
Yeah,
not a thing.
soggy lettuce is, and it
No.
also means you can have more salad dressing because it's not going to slide off because of the water.
Oh, that's
So
good.
I know. So changed my life. Changed my
I
life.
tell you
So
what
dry
changed
your
my
lettuce.
life is putting water in the pan. That is such a trick. I cooked so much and I didn't know it, and I'm thinking, oh my god, that's
There you go. Everyone's learning something new.
Really good trick.
Right, we are going to get our dressing ingredients at this point.
We did this type of dressing.
Just the other night
On
with
the
our
first
tomato
week?
salad.
Yes, it's the same salad dressing.
So
We're
just
gonna
like
do
a
the
very
same
simple
balancing.
Italian dressing using lovely Italian ingredients. Got some nice extra virgin olive oil, we've got some balsamic vinegar. So we're going very much on theme tonight with our lovely spaghetti bolognese. So to make your dressing, we're doing just a little bit less than it says in your recipe, just so you don't have an enormous cup. But you're welcome to make a big batch, keep it in the fridge. It stores for at least a couple of days, up to a week. So I've got, with my balsamic, it's a ratio of about 1 to 4. So I've got 4 parts olive oil, 1 part vinegar. Or even 5 if you like it a little bit
More tart?
less tart.
Oh, sorry, less tart?
Yeah. But if you're like Maddie, you might go 1 to 2 or even 1 to 3. Depends what you're after. So into here, we're going to go do most of our salt. We can always take, we can always add a little bit more, but we can't take it out. A little bit of pepper. I'm actually going to crush my garlic straight into my vinegar, and then we're going to mix in our oil. What's your favourite kind of dressing?
You see, I love this, but of course I would say this, but I do say often when we're doing a sort of more Mediterranean chicken shawarma-y type of meal, I take some of my hummus
Ah, nice.
and blend
Okay.
it in, make it a little bit looser.
A little
It becomes
creamy.
a great dressing, so it becomes really creamy. That's why we have it. It's one of our things that we always say, don't just dip into it, use it for other things and part of
Amazing.
the cooking. But I do love a dressing, and I do love poppy seeds in some of ours. Running around.
delicious.
Yeah, just for a bit of a, just so that actually at the end of a dinner party, everyone's got something in their mouth. It's
Yeah.
the- you know, everyone's
Something
You know, we're learning
It's a
things,
little
you know.
trick, yeah.
So I'm gonna get used to this. So we're gonna add in our olive oil into our balsamic, give it a really good whisk, and then of course we're gonna have to taste it just to make sure it's delicious.
Yeah, I feel like we can do a bit of a round of tasting. So we've got our 2 bolognese to taste. We've got some dressing, but we also have a little bit of hummus to taste as well.
Oh yes. Wait, have you
If
got the-
only somebody could
Only
give us
someone-
a
if
really
only you
tasty
someone,
hummus.
yeah.
So we've got some of your classic one, but I know you do lots of other flavours. Tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, so we do a jalapeno and a red pepper as well. The jalapeno's got a little bit of a cult following. People
Okay.
like it, a little bit of heat. And lately we've just launched some Greek dips, Greek trio, a kalamata olive hummus,
Oh, amazing.
a spiced feta dip, and a, what is the last one? A tzatziki.
Tzatziki, amazing.
Quintessential Greek. And we've got a spicy selection pack just launched in Tesco with a sriracha hummus, a tikka masala hummus, and a peri peri hummus.
So
Very, very English.
what
Yeah.
we're, I
Yeah,
guess
I
what
know,
we're
right?
asking now
Totally.
is what hummus don't you have?
No,
What's
that's
next?
us. We love a hummus, and we love and we love different flavors.
Right, so let's have a try of our dressing, and then we'll
Okay.
have a taste of the hummus.
How are we going to? Yeah, can I taste it?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
for
please.
it.
You just got a little dirty spoon bowl there.
You can be honest.
Because it might need some salt.
Yeah, I think it does need a
Need
little
some
bit of
salt.
but only a little bit.
That's good, because we started with half, give take, so we can always add more.
Can I do it?
Please.
Go
I'm
for it.
excited.
Give it a good whisk and we can go again. All in the meanwhile, if you can hear they're just kind of pottering away on the side there. They're still on, again, a reasonably high heat just to get them going. But the meat is actually starting to quite dry off a little bit. So we're going to taste it, we're going to see where it's at. We might add just a touch of water just to allow it to cook a little bit longer without it kind of sticking to that base there. Is it meat we're tasting?
I want to have one more taste of this, and then of course the hummus as well. But or we can just go straight into the hummus.
Well, how about
I
I
know
taste
what-
this because I know what the hummus tastes like.
Same with me and the dressing.
You probably tasted it a million times.
A few times a day, that's for sure.
Well, that is really good.
Very like
Creamy.
light and airy.
Really light
Yeah,
and
it's
creamy.
What is
beautiful.
your secret
Soft
to
and-
really smooth hummus? Because I know it's something that a lot of people struggle
So actually,
with.
we try not to make it too smooth sometimes, but we definitely don't want to course. It's about cooking the chickpeas right.
Okay.
And exactly as you say, if you give things the right amount of time to cook, they behave
Slow
the way
food.
you
They
want
do the
them.
right thing.
Slow food, the way it was meant to be made, that is the thing.
That is so
so that is
lovely,
it.
and you're right. It is. It's not super
not
light.
too-
It's
like
got a little bit of
I've got an
texture to
orange
it,
peel
but it
texture.
is quite like light. Like
Yeah.
it's very like airy and quite not very dense.
It should
or
be
heavy.
easy,
Yeah.
moorish, not thick, not stodgy, nice to eat, and you
Easy
know,
to
if
eat,
you're having
too
people
easy.
and you're making this sort of brilliant meal, why not just put some bread out, a bit of
Go
ciabatta
for
with the hummus. It
Go for it.
goes
One of my
with
favourite
every
starters.
single.
Yeah, bread, hummus, little.
And people pleaser starter.
It is.
I think that's really good now. Please.
Yeah.
What's really nice about balsamic is it's got a little bit of sugar in it, like not
Yeah.
sugariness, but
But
it's a
yeah,
little
it
sweet.
does. It definitely does have a little bit.
Same
of
with
sweetness
apple
to it.
cider vinegar, but of course we're using things like lemon juice. There's loads of alternative acids you can
That's
use. But balsamic's a nice middle ground one, not too sour, not too sweet. So with our
Special.
salad, very special. Yeah, we got some lovely green and black olives. If you hate olives, you can take them out, but I love them, so I'm going to put them in.
I love them.
And I'm going to wait to dress it just till the very last minute, because salad leaves in particular, they're really, really tender and they tend to wilt quite quickly. So I'll hold this back, but we are coming up towards tasting time for this, I think. I haven't had a little try of this yet.
So we're going to do our tasting of the Bolognese. Like I said, the meat is looking a little bit dry. If we need to cook it for a little bit longer, we're going to add some water. And same, this is looking a little bit wet, our veggie one. I don't know if
Are
you
you
can
expecting that to
see.
be more wet because of the veg?
Yeah, it will be, but I would like to evaporate it off a little bit. And I can see, if you can see the bits of courgette, which are kind of the last things to go in, they're still very like
Black.
pale and not. We want kind of everything to be quite like that dark, rich brown color. So that's going to take quite a bit more cooking. But we can do an original taste, an initial taste.
Well, mine can't be too far off.
Yeah, and then let's have a look.
They look amazing, guys.
Yeah.
And for me, this is like the #1 way to get vegetables in our lives.
Definitely.
They're hidden. I mean,
We've
that
got
one is obviously
so
all
many,
vegetables,
yeah.
But I mean, that one is just amazing.
Let's see how this goes. Oh my
Can I
god,
also
it's
try?
so hot actually. Because
yeah, I
it's
was gonna
it's
say.
really hot. Yep.
Maddie's vegetarian, that's why she's not
Yeah.
trying mine. So I know that my meat is definitely cooked because it's been in here for
Hours.
about half an hour. But, oh, that's hot. But mainly what I want to see is that my carrots and my celery are cooked because they always take the longest.
And I'm going in for round 2 on the hummus because it is quite moorish and it is very light and very
And it's
fluffy.
dinner time.
And
And I'm
it's
starving.
Actually,
Yeah.
It does have like good like bits of soft chickpeas in there. Like it's
that's
not a
the thing.
puree.
It
It's
is
really
made of
nice.
chickpeas. That's it. And I just think it's one of
That's
those
so
things
good.
that you got people. It's nice and big.
Oh my god, I want more of that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Can I taste this meat bolognese?
Yeah,
It's
you
the
go
South
for go
African,
nuts
yeah?
on the meat version. So for me,
Wow, guys.
how do you rate?
Oh,
We're
you gotta put
we
me
got
on
we
the
got
spot.
to we people are they kind of go nuts over the beef bolognese because I think not many people brown their meat at home. I think they kind of just break it up a
They
little
lose
bit,
so much
which
flavour
is
that
also
way.
it can be super flavoursome, but that like taking the meat dark brown makes it next level.
That is amazing.
So-
both of them are actually unbelievably, and the texture on this is so similar to the mince.
Yeah,
That is unbelievable. I mean,
Of
that's
all the veggie versions we do, I think this is the most
if you've got
faithful.
better chopping skills than I do, you might even have them a little bit smaller.
delicious.
Where's the salt gone, Maddie? You got it.
I've got it.
waiting.
Yeah, I would say the veggie one for me, I think because it doesn't have like the natural saltiness of the meat, it's quite a high water content, needs like a
little
bit
boil
of
down.
salt. Yeah.
No.
So
A good
for our
pinch of salt.
pasta water, we're going to get this on because it takes about 8 minutes to cook.
Yeah.
We're going to get this on for dinner time. Once again, it's a hefty handful of salt.
It's
It's
a
a handful of salt. I'm
a
actually
good.
a very big protagonist of using salt in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I just think it's not. I'm not saying too much, but a good amount of it is brings
Enough.
out all the
You
flavor.
just need
have to
enough.
have the right
Not
amount.
too much,
Yeah.
just
Enough to
enough.
make it delicious.
Enough to make
That's
it delicious. And
So
taste
we're-
as you go.
Absolutely.
We're
Also, if you're
using,
cooking, you're working hard. You need food.
True
You need
right.
sustenance.
And look at all the steam. I mean, you're getting a facial.
Oh,
My
yeah.
hair should be frizzing up any second now. It was
I've been crying this whole time with joy, crying with joy,
And
onion
onion-
joy, but
onion tears.
still crying.
So we're using spaghetti tonight, but to be honest, you could use anything that's got like a really nice scoopy shape. So something like the shells, conchiglie,
spirals.
yeah, all good stuff.
Anything that's going to catch your little bits of chopped up veggies and chopped up meat.
But equally, it's quite a finely textured sauce, so it does cling to spaghetti really nice as well. And later on, for our final Friday night session, we are
Final
making
Friday
lasagna.
night session, we are making lasagna.
So we'll
That's going to be
recap this whole
the
sauce
final
one more
test. for everyone that's been cooking at home that's
so
it. The
exciting.
bechamel, the
This is
bolognese,
actually-
the salad to go with.
Lasagna is a labour of love, and it is well worth it. Well worth it.
Especially if you're making your double, triple batch, so you can freeze some, and then whenever you want to make lasagna, all you need to do is the bechamel.
Check it out.
That's so quick.
Easy done.
Easy peasy.
And I don't want to say it, but actually you can freeze bechamel as well. It's so easy and so quick to make, you don't have to.
That's
But
what we
occasionally
did.
I make too much, and I go, oh God, I've got some that milk that's about to go off. I'll make a huge batch of bechamel, stick it in the freezer, and I
Smart.
use it when I need it.
That's
Macaroni
so
cheese or...
You're the freezer queen.
I'm afraid.
We use a good freezer as well.
yeah.
So of all the
It's a
hummuses
lack
you
of
make,
time.
what is your favourite hummus that you've come out with?
Well, I have to say, lately with the newest spicy ones, the sriracha hummus is so punchy with flavour, and I just love it. That's one of my absolute new
Sriracha's out.
favourites.
Yeah.
And what about
at
your
home
kids?
That's our number
They eat
one
lots of your
spice.
hummus?
I mean, it's amazing. My youngest daughter said to me the other day, she went, you know what I love about your hummus? And I said, what? She says, you never get sick of eating it. And I thought, you're
what
too
an
right, because
endorsement.
she's been literally eating it since she was an infant, so she's 14 years in, and I thought that's fair, you know.
She's like, you know, I still love it.
Living,
It's a spoonful of hummus every
So when I'm
day.
running out of things...
How much do you pay her to say that?
No, no. The problem is we were alone.
Bribes
I mean,
and
what the
sweets.
hell? If I'd bribed her, probably should have done it with other people around.
So for us actually, Ramona, you get the nice job now. You get to sit down, chill out with a glass of wine, because
Lovely,
we're just
thank
going
you.
to basically
Simmer,
finish
simmer.
this off, taste it. This is the boring part now.
Amazing.
So
I
you've
look
left
forward to
your,
seeing it.
you've left us our
I've left you
chef
with what you
snack.
need.
Thank you very much, and she has
Lovely.
left us with like many of these to take home. So we
Enjoy.
appreciate it. But we will bring you, say goodbye, because we're going to bring you your glass of wine, your
Thank you,
bolognese,
Ramona.
all that.
So for the rest of you, you've now done all the hard work. You've done all the chopping. You've made your salad dressing. You've chopped your salad.
Maybe
you've
you're
chopped
crying.
200 pieces of veggies. And I'm just keeping an eye on my pasta every now and then. I'm just making sure it's not sticky on the bottom. Hopefully it won't if you've got enough water in there. So you don't need to follow the old wives' tales of adding like oil and stuff to your pan. You just need a good amount of salt and a big pot. But these are not sticking together at all, which is great. They're on a nice fast boil. I've got my timer on, and unlike when we did mac and cheese, you just want it to be fully cooked through, no hard crunchy bits. That's how I like it.
I can see your water is creeping up.
Oh, it is. Thank you so much.
I'm
If it
coming
creeps
over.
up, you just want to drop it down to a nice, like a fast boil, but just not so fast that it's going to bubble over the top. That's usually just because of all the starch. So
How's your bolognese going?
it's looking pretty good. It's potentially needing a little bit more water because when I draw a line through the pot, I can see it instantly and it stays there. It leaves like a good indent. So I want it to be nice and saucy. So,
After you,
sorry,
man.
madam. So I'm going to make it nice and saucy, let it continue cooking for the rest of the time my pasta needs to go.
It's only going to get more delicious from here.
It'll only get more delicious. And I think we can start doing some seasoning of your one.
Yeah, it's still got a little bit of water to evaporate off. Like it's still looking like a little on the soupy side.
I can move mine
as
to the back if you want
Roz
to.
would say. I'm going to give it a taste because Millie gave it a good chef's pinch of salt. So we're going to see where it's at in terms of flavour. Oh, it is still missing, I will say, quite a bit of salt. So I'm going to go with another good, I'm saying chef's pinch. It's not like
I'm
a
so sorry.
two-finger
I
pinch.
forgot
It's
to
like a
give you a
3 to
pinch.
4. Aha, Millie has just admitted to not adding salt, which makes a lot of sense now, actually.
so sorry.
So I'm going to go in with what I think is 2 chef's pinches of salt. Again, it is very high in water, and those veggies, they need a little bit of enhancing.
Need a little
Their
help.
flavours, they need a little bit of help. And that, actually, in terms of consistency, it has started to dry out, which is good. So not quite as dry
Actually,
as
a
the
little
meat
splash of water
version.
for your one.
Yeah, but we're going to let that
a little taste
continue
of
to
yours
cook
then.
on.
So when you're tasting, especially the veg bolognese, trying the carrots, try the celery, they're the things that are going to be the crunchiest. So there's no point trying an aubergine. I know at this point, because it's been in almost from the start, it will definitely be cooked.
It's been in, I would say, close to an hour now, because that was one of the first things we cut. So if your carrot's
far
still
off, you know.
crunchy, yeah, it's
Fairly crunchy.
How's the flavour?
More salt, but good.
More salt. More salt, she says.
And the nice thing about
Shut
this,
up.
along with our veg soup, our roast veggies, it's just got such a variety of veggies that really helps to give it a lot more flavour. So don't just stick to your carrot and your celery, like add lots of other things in, makes them a bit more exciting.
So if you look at this consistency, this one you need to thicken quite a lot. So it's going to go for a lot more cooking. And again, you can put this on a lower heat and just let it bubble over time, but it should be as thick as the meat once it's finished. It shouldn't be, it's not soup.
And if you want
this
to do
is-
it in the
yeah.
hour, crank your heat up and maybe add a little splash of water if you feel like it's burning. Just keep it that lovely saucy consistency. We've cranked ours up to max heat on this
I
one
don't
just to
think
make
can
sure it
get
cooks
any
nice and
higher.
fast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a little taste. Have you added any more salt?
I did.
I'm gonna have one more taste.
One more chef's pinch of salt.
And again, yeah, that tomato has darkened, so it's beginning to cook really nicely.
Yeah, it's got that nice kind of brown colour now, as opposed to it was really, really bright red before. If you're, it's good.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Little by little, little by
And again,
little.
you could always do like a little parmesan or something on top. If you are adding things like salty things like cheese, just be mindful of your seasoning overall.
Yes, and definitely don't add it in while it's bubbling really hot like this, because it will just
Split.
reduce. Yeah, it will just make a whole fat pool on top.
Right. Our pasta's got 1 minute left, so I'm going to have a little look, see if it's got that white line that I keep talking about. I think we could add like a touch more water to this still. Just because when I draw my line through it, it's quite dry, and I still want it to keep on cooking. We have now got like a full-on Bolognese facial. I'm feeling very, very
Yes.
little hot and sticky in here.
All right. That's just allowed, that little bit of water that I've added is just going to let us basically keep it on a super, super high heat without it catching on the bottom, which is what we want. I'd like to forget about it, but it's calling. A vicious bubble.
I'm going to show here, just out of the steam's way, there's still a tiny, tiny white mark in the center. Still pretty crunchy. So it needs at least 2 more minutes. I'm going to crank up my timer. Ooh. I'm going to wash my hands.
And if you're at home, if you've managed to sneak along with us, one, if you've done the veg bolognese in this time, congratulations. If you've managed to steam up your home like we have, congratulations, you've done a good job. But if you haven't, don't stress. This is a push for an hour, particularly if you're chopping up all those vegetables at home alone. You've got no kids to help you, you've got no Millie to help you cut your parsley. It can take a long time to cook. You can leave this for, well, more than an hour, that's for sure, on the stove. You can just put it on low heat and let it sizzle. It's only going to get more flavoursome from here. But we have managed to get it out in an hour. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be fully cooked. It's going to be super rich, and it only gets better with age.
Oh, absolutely. So if you can and you want to make a really, really good bolognese, make it the day before. And then if you've got friends coming over, you don't even have to do cooking in the hard yards that day.
Heat it up piping hot, and they'll be very impressed, particularly if you've gone to all the effort of chopping everything and seasoning everything to perfection.
So I'm going to pour my dressing over the salad now. I know we're going to finish all this off, so I'm going to dress all of it. You don't want to drown it, because it's going to become like a little bit soggy,
Yeah, you don't want
and just really
salad
oily.
soup.
But just make sure every leaf is well covered. I'm going to give it a really good toss, break up those little pieces of cucumber, and then I'm going to plate up a bowl for us. We're going to drain our pasta, add some sauce to it, and have some dinner.
Check on this last little bits, and your pasta's going pretty good as well.
Yeah, only need another 2 more minutes.
I will say that last little pinch of salt has just kind of stepped it up, that last little bit that we needed. It's now tasting very, very rich, and all the flavours from all the vegetables are starting to show up now. It's not just kind of like a bit bland and a bit tomatoey. It's now, I can taste absolutely everything in there. I will say it's starting to dry out a little bit on the bottom, so I am going to add just one more touch of water so we can continue to keep it on high.
All right, that sounds like my pasta timer.
It does.
So, at home you can just drain yours in a colander over the sink. I'm going to do mine just so you can see what I'm up to. Oh, Maddie's got my colander. Excellent. So, just pouring it away from you so you don't splash yourselves. Whoop, there it goes, and just one piece sticky on the bottom. Get that one. All right, so give it a little shake.
Lovely.
And
This one's, yes, let's go.
This one's good?
Yeah. This one's very, very close. The seasoning is good.
We're doing 2 different types of pasta, so I'm just going to put some pasta in the plate and we'll dress ours with our different sauces. But at home, you should toss them through just so they have good amount of sauce covering them. This is the way my parents always used to do it for me growing up. But yeah, doing it mixed in is a little bit nicer. You can add a big knob of butter as well, and that will make it really, really glossy. And I think we're going to bring back Ramona so she can have a little taste of our bolognese.
Have the final taste of the pasta and the bolognese.
I thought you'd never ask.
I know, you're just waiting.
Guys, this smells incredible. I wish the people watching on YouTube could smell what's going on here.
Yeah, no smell-o-vision yet, but you know, there's still time.
All right,
Let me
I'm
grab
going to put
you
some
a
veggie
fork.
bolognese on, but I am also going to drop mine down, and I'm just going to let it cook for that little bit longer. It tastes beautiful. I will say the carrots could use just a minute more, but it looks and tastes amazing. This is for me.
Right, that's for you.
Thank
I
you.
might have some salad.
Are you?
Right, for
Okay,
you.
let's do it. You
So-
gave me the one that's going to like mess and splash everywhere. No, don't worry. I'm not, I've got a good
At least you don't got a
self-esteem,
white
yeah.
apron.
And we've given you the hardest thing to eat on the camera.
On camera, yeah.
You don't get
Yeah.
this physique by not knowing how to get through a fantastic mouthful of
Spaghetti, yeah. Oh, mine is 1,000 degrees. All right, we're going.
Mine is
for
so
it.
refreshing. I've done the right thing.
You gave yourself the good one. All right, let's do this, girls.
So you've just joined us for another night of Cook for Victory. Please, please, please tag us in at Cookery School London on Instagram. # Cook for Victory. As we say every night, we love to see all your creations. Thank you so much, Ramona, for joining us.
Guys, you are not just pretty faces. This is delicious.
Thank you.
me.
Oh, thank you. It was such a pleasure, actually. And I cannot stress enough. Thank you for bringing us not just the hummus to eat, but also some hummus to take home as well.
Backup
Ramona
hummus,
has
you know?
been
We are an
more than
abundant
generous.
brand. It's a pleasure.
Tons
It's
and
a
tons of
pleasure.
chickpeas.
Yeah, chickpeas.
So where can we find Ramona's?
In all the supermarkets, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's,
Big kisses.
Asda. Yeah.
All the good
Everywhere.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
much.
We are going to cool down.
And eat.
Yes, cool down, chill out, have a glass of wine, have our bolognese, and hopefully you're at the same stage or you're very close where you can start to chill out. You can stop sweating, stop steaming your face with bolognese. And we will see you tomorrow night. We've got an awesome night planned.
We've got a
Again,
double
we've
guest
got-
appearance,
we've got a double
actually.
guest tomorrow
Yeah.
night.
There's lots of space for that.
Yes, yeah, it's going to be another hot,
Feel crowded.
sweaty night in the kitchen, but we will see you then. Thank you so much.
Keep cooking.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes, keep cooking, keep tasting, keep adding a pinch of salt.
Yes, yes, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. And eating, of course.
Naturally.
The most, I'm going to go in again.